Okay, start with it. Alright, so today we'll start with what we covered in last week. Okay. So after I think a week somewhere, or 2 weeks, uh, because last week we had monthly Sankirtan. So everyone is okay with English, right? But my English is not difficult. I don't know much English, so whatever. Simple English we have. Any question? So we are a little yeah. Anytime you have any question, right? Just feel free to ask the question. मतलब आप बीच में कभी भी क्वेश्चन पूछिए जो भी आपको नहीं समझ में आता है. That way we will learn more. क्योंकि आज का टॉपिक थोड़ा सा ऐसा टॉपिक है जिसपे आपको क्वेश्चन आ सकते हैं. You will have questions and you should have questions and ask. Right. So we'll start with the recap first. So we covered 2.54 to 2.57 in last class. So in 2.54, Arjuna, the translation will go directly. Arjuna said, "O Krishna, what are the symptoms of the one whose consciousness is burst into transcendence? How does he speak? What is his language? How does he sit? And how does he walk?" So from this particular verse, before that, Krishna was talking about Sthir Pragya, Samadhi, the person who are in Samadhi. Right, they are talking about that. Okay. So he was talking about the person who is in Samadhi. So when you talk about something interesting, we get the curiosity. And that's why we should ask the question. We get the curiosity. Okay, I want to know more about this thing. So he was talking about Sthir Pragya, someone who is somehow in any condition. So now Arjuna gets more interested, he gets intrigued and he wants to know more about that. So he's asking those questions. So he asked 4 questions about Sthir Pragya. The 4 questions were, what are the symptoms of Sthir Pragya? Means, every person you see, there is a characteristic. When you see go on the road, there is a rich person, poor person, other kind of like, when you see a person in office, right? Manager will behave differently, employee will behave differently, and the manager's manager will behave differently. So they all have a different way of showing their personality, right? So here also a devotee, a non-devotee, person from other religion, right? All have a different kind of characteristic which they show. So now Arjun wants to know how does this person act? What are the symptoms of this Sthir Pragya? What it also means, or what actually he wants to know that how does this person act in the disturbing condition or distress situations, right? It's not like yes, when you know about symptom, okay, tell me more about this person. You want to know more about how do they behave in certain ways, in certain times. So that's what here Arjun wants to know. How do they act when some adverse condition comes? Then the second question he asks, how does he speak? Means it's not like how does he speak like kaise bolta hai, not directly like that, but it is like in those conditions, in those adverse distress or disturbing condition, how does the person respond? A lot of people crumble in like they can be amazing people when you talk on the normal condition. Little pressure and everything opens up, right? We would have seen in offices until project is good, everyone is fine. Manager is so cool. One escalation from client and that's it. Right. The team is suffering. So Sthir Pragya means when we are talking about a person who actually behaves somehow in an equipoised way in every condition, then he also needs to behave perfectly or properly in distress condition as well. Right. So that's what he asks. In disturbed situation, how does the person respond? Then the third question, how does he sit? Not like how does he sit like we are sitting here. But how does he sit means, sitting means you stop your movement, you make your body relax. Okay, you are like thumb down. Right? You are stopping somewhere. So sitting here means in those conditions or in what condition the person stops his senses from sense object. Right? Means it means that there are some stimulating or there are some interesting or yeah, some condition which will stimulate the senses. Right? How does this person control his senses? It only means that. Like sitting means how does he control? Like we control our body when we sit. Right? Then the fourth, how does he walk? Now sitting means controlling, like rukna. Walking, you start using your senses again. Then when is the right time when the person or what time the person you start using his senses? Like how does he allow senses to move receiving the sense object? So at one time he stops, another time what time he uh, start responding to the external conditions or the sense objects. That is the questions Arjun asked here. Now Lord Krishna will start answering those questions. So last time we covered two answers. The first two. What are the symptoms of Sthir Pragya? Like how does he react, respond in those conditions? And what are the symptoms and how does he respond? So in 2.55, Krishna says that, O Parth, when a man gives up all varieties of desire for sense gratification, which arise from mental concoction, and when his mind, thus purified, finds satisfaction in the self alone, then he is said to be in pure transcendental condition. Means the general symptom of the samadhi, person in samadhi, Krishna is explaining here. It means that when the person who is sthir prajna, who is somehow, right, he stops searching the pleasure object or the objects of enjoyment outside of himself. That time he is called sthir prajna, and he starts searching within himself. When do we search for the enjoyment outside of our body or outside of us? When that happens or why that happens? We discussed that. Anyone remember? मुझे पानी पीना था इसलिए I asked the question. बोलिए.
When we identify ourselves with those senses, like a bodily platform.
Yes, but why we? Why do we seek outside? There's a reason. Why do you look for a new home? Simple. We are not content. We think that this is not enough. Right? 2 BHK is not enough. Let's go for 3. 3 is not enough. Let's go for 4. We think that it's incomplete. The happiness which we are getting from us is not completed. Right? And that's why we start searching the objects of happiness outside. Right? From outside. So that mentality, that kind of feeling that if I do myself, I may not be happy. Right? But if I get that object, a new car, a new home, new girlfriend, a wife, right? Thankfully, Constitution does not allow new wife until you leave old wife. But yes, a new things. And then they feel like I'll become happy at that point of time. But that doesn't always happen. Because it is within us. We discussed that the happiness actually is within us. It's not outside. Your soul should be happy. That's why it's called Satchit Anand. Always searching, always. It is already in blissful state, but because it's covered by the subtle body and the gross body, it has a lot of covering. So we cannot perceive that eternal happiness. So we discussed this point, very important point, game of desire. Actually, Mother, you were not there last time. I added this point specifically for your question, which you had. So the whole game is for the desire. That we desire something. That I desire something bigger, something better, and that will give us happiness. So your question was in, I remember one of the class, and after the class, in one of the reading class, the question was, why, if we, so there are two ways you can seek happiness. One is like, there are two better ways to seek happiness, I would say. One is like to do Samaj Seva. Another way is to do, one is Manav Seva, one is Madhav Seva. Right, Madhav Seva means by doing God's service. Another way doing Manav Seva. So the question was, why doing Mano Seva? It is all good activity, it is all good deeds, it's a good karma, right? Then why by doing this we don't go to the Vaikuntha? That was the question. Because it's a game of desire. Say you want to go to Mumbai. Hmm? Why would you take a train for Bangalore or Delhi? Should you? Right. God sanctions your desires. What you desire, if you deserve it and you have the karma to get that, God will sanction it. God will allow to have you that. Now your desire is to do Mano Seva. Where are the Mano? On earth. Why would you go to Vaikuntha? You cannot do your Mano Seva because your desire was to do Mano Seva. When you passed your body, you feel like I did something is missing. I could have done more, or my itcha is, or my desire is to come again and do more manav seva and do more seva for say animals and all other things, right? Because that is your desire, and you have good karma because you have done all the good things in your life, right? The whole time. Then why would you go to Vaikuntha where there are no manav? Whom would you serve? Your desire makes sure that ensures that you will come back here and you will do the Mano Seva. That's why you are stuck here. Here, Swarg and here, matlab in this material world. But when someone's desire is to serve the Bhagwan, serve the Lord, Bhagwan in many forms he is available here, but he wants to serve the Lord directly. Right? Where he will go? Where Bhagwan is, he will go to Vaikuntha. So this is all game of desires. I hope it makes sense. Right? Why they don't go to Vaikuntha? Because their desires makes them to be here, not going to Vaikuntha. Yes, ma'am.
Has God in them.
Absolutely. Of course.
Same the God has. There is the mentality of other people, help other people, or whatever, since they have God in them. To induce or heaven or
Vaikuntha is spiritual world. Heaven is in material world. Huh. Or none of us knew actually. You are not alone. None of us knew. So very good point here. Intention, the game of desire, and it is also game of intention. Okay, what is your intention doing that activity? When you are doing the Mano Seva, you are thinking that he is also my God brother. God brother means not the spiritual, matlab not from the Diksha Parampara. He is also son of God. He is also my brother and sister. He also has Paramatma living inside him or her. I am doing the Seva so that I can serve the Paramatma. If you are doing with that intention, you are doing the Madhav Seva, not really Manav Seva. Even though you are serving the physical body, but your intention is that because he is the son of God or daughter of God, son of God, let's say, one gender, right? Then I am serving God only here. But it is not like I am serving his physical body here. With that intention, when you do, it is actually Madhav Seva, it is not Manav Seva. But when someone does that, humanity is the ultimate goal. Humanity is everything. If I do humanity, that means it. I don't need God. What is God? Human seva karo, that's it. Then certainly they are not going to get Vaikuntha. So intention matters a lot here. Your desire plus intention. हाँ. हाँ. नहीं ऐसा कोई जरूरी नहीं है ना आपका पुण्य आप अपने लिए भी करते हैं पुण्य मीन्स मुझे मुझे पुत्र प्राप्ति के लिए मुझे ऐसा कुछ यज्ञ करना है तो आप दूसरे मानव की सेवा नहीं कर रहे हो आप खुद की सेवा कर रहे हो हाँ पुण्य मिलेगा तो आप ये भगवान के लिए नहीं कर रहे हो कि भगवान ने बनाया है भगवान ने मुझे कैपेबल बनाया he has made me capable so that I can make sure no one goes hungry who is around me. God has made me capable, and if I do that, I am serving the Paramatma inside it. Right? Versus, think, this guy is hungry. Humanity is the highest religion. Let me feed him. But how many times? How many times are you going to feed him? Today, tomorrow, 10 days, 20 days? There's a saying in English, right? Teach a man how to fish, right? Rather than give him a fish. Because he will eat once. But when you teach a man how to fish, he can arrange these things for himself. So when you teach someone, when you preach someone and you make them realize that when they do bhakti of Bhagwan, God will take care of everything. दुनिया में apart from actually humans, think unless it's extreme condition, no one dies hungry really. No animal dies hungry. Have you ever known any animal who died hungry except in drought condition or something? सड़क पे कुत्ते घूमते रहते हैं, बिल्ली घूमते रहते हैं. No one dies hungry. They get all the thing. God makes sure. Only human die hungry because of the artificial scarcity which is created by human himself. There were 1960s when the world did not have a lot of wheat. Right. US had surplus 2 times, 3 times of wheat production. And when India needed, they threw all the wheat in the ocean but did not give anything. Why? Control the prices. You think this is scarcity is not man-made? When you start reading about it, you'll be astonished what kind of nonsense the humans are doing in the name of humanity and capitalism. I'm not communist by you, right? But yes, the extreme capitalism is also bad. What was done that time. So this scarcity is actually created by human itself. God has made sure, yeah, 10 Arab, like 10 billion people also can sustain very easily on earth. Given that this hoarding mentality will stop and this stock and commodity price regulation mentality will stop from the businessman capitalist. Right. So yeah. Any other question? Quick question after. So this is all game of desire and intention. This is very important for us to know. Very, very important thing. What are we desiring and what is our intention when we are doing something? Like, are we doing as a service to God or we are doing as a service to a mortal being? Right. Same activity, two perspective, two different intention, and the whole dynamics changes. We'll discuss that more in today's plan. Right. So in 2.56, again Krishna explains that one who is not now he is explaining the symptom, and next verse he is explaining how does he speak, how does he respond, and this one is a kind of mix. So one who is not disturbed in mind even amidst the threefold miseries, or elated when there is happiness, who is free from attachment, fear, and anger, is called sage of steady mind. So what he says that who is not disturbed in the threefold miseries. Threefold miseries are किसी को याद है? आध्यात्मिका. Adhyatmic means which came from the yourself, from your body itself, from your mind, like headache. Yes, that's a correct example. From your body it is coming, and depression. Someone who thinks a lot and they get disturbed. That is adhyatmika misery. एक आध्यात्मिक मिsery को हिंदी क्या कहते हैं? हाँ? कलह. ओके भाई, कलह बड़ा खतरनाक शब्द है. क्लेश. हाँ, क्लेश इज बेटर वर्ड. कलह लग रहा है घर में कलह की बात हो रही है. हाँ, सेम थिंग है, बट कलह वर्ड इज घर के लिए. ओके, कलह बची पड़ी. Okay, so adhyatmic that is. Then adi bhautik, which happened from which is the dukh actually better word. The dukh which is given by other creatures. मच्छर ने काट दिया, सास ने सुना दिया, टीचर ने डांटा, right? देखा पति ने बर्थडे गिफ्ट दे दिया, right? So that kind of thing which comes from other creature called adi bhautik, and then adi devik, the natural which is coming from the devatas, like tsunami, drought, earthquake, drought patal sukha, right? Those kind of things. So someone who is not disturbed in mind when any kind of dukh, any kind of place comes into their life, when they are not very happy when something good happened, ठीक कि कुछ अच्छा हो गया, अरे भाई प्रमोशन हो गया, प्रमोशन, चलो आज तो पूरी दुनिया को पार्टी देंगे, ठीक. And when someone is not very sad when something bad happens, not, but obviously it does not mean you should not be sad, but not over the top ki something bad happened, promotion नहीं हुआ, बस रो दो के पूरे सेम प्रमोशन भाई, एक बंदे का हुआ, एक बंदे का नहीं हुआ, रो दो के पूरी कंपनी में हंगामा मचाया पड़ेगा, लड़ाई कर रहे हैं एचआर से, मैनेजर से, एंड ऑल दोस पीपल. So who are not going extreme when good happens or bad thing happens. Like they are sthir karke. Who are free from attachment, fear, and anger. They are not too much attached to things. They are not fearful. And they are not getting angry in those conditions. Why they don't get angry? Why they don't get fearful? Why? Religion? Because they become indifferent. Why they become indifferent? That's the question.
Understood that everything is happening because of God's will.
That's true. It is all happening because of God's will. Everything happens is because of the God's will. But then why? What other? But your answer is right. Because they are in steady mind. Right. They are. Yeah, you all are correct. So that's why, because their focus is not these things. You are in the bhautik world, these things will keep on happening. Right. Their focus is God. क्या बोलते हैं, व्यवसायत्मिका बुद्धि. जैसे एक व्यवसायी होता है, उसकी बुद्धि एक जगह फिक्स होती है. क्या है उसकी? What is the fix for him? Get profit, right? उसका focus fix है, profit आना चाहिए चाहे कुछ भी करो. So like that, व्यवसायत्मिका बुद्धि. Our mind should be focused on to serve the Lord, and these things will become like insignificant. Not secondary, insignificant. These things come and go. Nothing is permanent, right? Happiness is not permanent. Sadness is not permanent. Everything comes and goes. Our Shastra says that, or some Acharya says that, because Shastra does not give example of sandwich, so I will not say Shastra, but some Acharya says that our life, this happiness is something like, you have seen the burger or the sandwich. So two breads are there, thick bread, and between those bread there is a thin layer of butter. That is, the butter layer is sukh, and up and down is the thick layer is the dukh. So in between we get that butter, and all other time we get the bread. Yeah. How many of you got hungry?
We didn't like the example.
You didn't like the example?
No,
Mukund didn't like the example. You are hungry? Alright. So because they are of a steady mind, that's why they don't get too much elated or too much distressed in respective conditions. Right. Now next, in 2.57, Krishna explains that how does he speak, means how does he respond in those conditions. So he says that one who is unaffected by whatever good or evil he may obtain, neither praising it nor despising it, is firmly fixed in perfect knowledge. He tells that someone who is unaffected by when good or bad thing happens. Unaffected means, again, the continuation of that. When good thing happens, he is not too much elated. And when bad thing happens, he is not too much distressed. And it is not just in mind, but how does he talk to others also? How does he speak also? How does he respond also? It's like someone did something good for them. He does not started praising, you are everything, like, arey, just as an example. At traffic, you got caught without helmet. And then you just requested, please, आज मैं हमेशा जिंदगी में कभी भी without helmet I don't go, and today was the only day because of this and that, and he gets some mercy, and he's like, okay, you go, and then you are everything, you are the best person, you are this and that, and all those praising for that simple constable, right? So someone who doesn't behave like that, or someone who just is scolded, प्रभु जी सर्विस ढंग से नहीं की जाती है, लाइक कैसे प्रभु जी है, क्या कृष्णा कॉन्सियसनेस में कर रहे हैं, 8 साल से ये भक्ति कर रहे हैं, उनको ये भी नहीं पता है कैसे बात कर रहे हैं, this and that, and they started scolding or talking to others about that प्रभु जी like that. So how does he respond? He responds in a proper way, not praising too much someone when someone does a good for them, or not not talking bad about someone when someone scolds or something, they talk back to them, right? Despising it. So they speak like that because, again, the same answer, because they are firmly fixed, steadily fixed in the Krishna consciousness and they are in perfect knowledge. What is perfect knowledge? What is perfect knowledge? Vasudevam Sarvamiti, absolutely. Vasudev is the cause of all knowledge, right? He is everything, right? That's a perfect knowledge. And everything happens because of his will. Right? So, any question? Revision is over. Chalo, bolo. Okay. So, we'll go with 2.58. Repeat after me. Yada samharate chayam kurmo angani vasarvasa indriyadi indriyatebhyas tasya prajna pratisthita yada samharate chayam kurmo angani vasarvasa indriyadi indriyatebhyas tasya prajna pratisthita. Anyone, any problem? यदा संहरते चायं भूतो अङ्गानीव सर्वसा इन्द्रियाणि इन्द्रियार्थेभ्यः तस्य प्रज्ञा प्रतिष्ठिता यदा संहरते चायं भूतो अङ्गानीव सर्वसा इन्द्रियाणि इन्द्रियार्थेभ्यः तस्य प्रज्ञा प्रतिष्ठिता. So translation by His Divine Grace is CW. One who is able to withdraw his senses from sense objects, as the tortoise draws its lips within the shell, is firmly fixed in perfect consciousness. Now, Krishna starts responding to the third question. What is the third question? Kim Asif. How does he sit? How does he stop his senses from sense objects? A sthir prajna or a person who is in samadhi. Right. So, talking about senses, right? So, here, the senses are the only way how we can contact the outside world. Right? Through eyes, ears, hand, touch, like all the senses, right? So, senses are smelling. So, senses are the only way how we can contact the outside world. But what we need to know here is that these senses are the property of God. Why am I saying that? Why senses are property of God? Anyone knows? Krishna's name actually tells that. Rishikesh, master of senses. Rishika means senses. Rishik Ish. Rishik senses Ish, master of senses. So Krishna is called Rishikesh. Right? He is master of senses. So Krishna is the owner of the senses. He is the proprietor of all our senses and everyone's senses. Now, as an example, you all are working in a company, right? Should you utilize the company's resources for your own benefit, for all the things? Why you should? Then what you should utilize? You are employee of the company. Why you should not? You should start using the printer. लेके आओ घर पे 2 दिन छुट्टी है. Okay, let's take printer. घर पे बहुत print out निकालना है. After all, I'm the employee of the company, XYZ manager at this post. So can you take out the printer from company at home for 2 days and the Monday morning 7 o'clock at its place? Should you do that? Why not?
Rights?
Rights are limited, okay? It is not allowed. If it is allowed, then you would have taken it. Alright?
All other employees are using the same thing.
Saturday, Sunday holiday program. You are the last one going out on Friday night, the first one coming out on the Monday morning. 2 days office closed. Okay? That's not your property to use. Exactly. That's not your property to use. You are employee. It does not give you right. Like प्रभु ने कहा you don't किसे बातें दिए प्रभु को बातें नहीं बोला था कि you don't have right to use that. Your right is to take print out from that. That also office related, not the book which is ordered by another Prabhuji or Mataji. Right. So our right is limited. Our right does not our right does not state that you should take the printer at home. Same thing is with our Indri. Our right is limited on those Indriya. Right. How to use in the service of the Lord. That's what Shastra said. That's what not I'm saying. But how do we use in reality? For our own enjoyment. We think that we are the owner of this is my hand. I can do whatever I want. The famous slogan, my life, my choice, my right. My life, my choice. Right. I am the owner of my body. I can do whatever I want. दीपिका पादुकोण बदली अगर आप याद कर रहे हो कि किसने बोला था ये. Yeah. Right. So people think that this is I am the owner of this, so I can do whatever I want. I can use any way I want, and that creates problem because we are not the owner of that. So that's what being said here. Um, that one who is able to withdraw the senses from sense object, as the tortoise draws his lips. Right. So we'll discuss that further. So how to withdraw the sense object, senses from the sense object. So anyone knows what's happening here? Why fell down? No. His? Why he is crying? It's not crying. At least the people who have kids, they should know. Exactly. He is doing tantrum. माता जी के बच्चे भी फिर भी उनको आंसर पता है. Right. So if he's throwing tantrum, I want this, I want this, I want this. Give me that. And until he gets that, he'll be like this. We have seen a lot in the malls, in the society, or अभी थोड़ी देर बाद हो सकता है यहाँ भी हो. Right, at home, in some classes, right, David is here to throw some tantrum. Right, so kids do that. I want this, and it's like if I do this, I will get that. That's their understanding, that's their mentality. So, same way, the senses are also extremely demanding. Anyone remembers that the 5 horses, all the 5 senses going into different directions? Because all the senses want their own enjoyment. I want something to smell better. I want something to eat better. If you, I can give you a very simple example here. You, anyone knows the ripe kathar ka, the jackfruit seed? It smells very pungent. A lot of people cannot eat it, but it tasted very sweet. A lot of people want to eat it because of that, because of sweetness, but because of pungency, many people don't eat it. Now there is a fight between your nose and the tongue, right? And some people who goes with the tongue, they eat that, naak band karke kha lenge, but it's so sweet that I should eat it. And some people are like, nah, I cannot wear nose ring. So all the senses are like that. They all want the best thing for themselves. They fight within themselves also. Your mind will say that this gulab jamun is not good for you, you are diabetic. But then tongue, no, one only, just one. Ek, today 3 days. Walk one more round of the society. Just that's it, right? Walk one more round, it will be over. Right. So senses are extremely demanding. They always demand something good, something which gives them the enjoyment, the material enjoyment. Like this kid, right? He wants a new toy, or wants to go to Wonderland. That's what we use for. Right. So they create a huge noise that I want this, I want that, and it causes the agitation in mind. And Again, depending on how strong is our mind, it either gives up or it stops. Whatever you do, you are not going to get that. Right? That that is the way like how Sthir Pragya can control the mind. Intelligence. So, Sthir Pragya person control his senses as per his plan. He has planned that I am going to the class. I'm not saying for this class, disclaimer. Right. He has planned that I'm going to a marriage function and there are 40 varieties of sweets. I will not take any sweet. Whatever my mind says, whatever my tongue or eyes say that. I will not take any sweet. My doctor has said 1 month no sweet, I will not take. If you are that strong, you can control the senses. If not, maybe थोड़ा थोड़ा सब टेस्ट कर लेते हैं. Right, 40 varieties, never seen that. Why I remember 40 varieties? Because someone told me recent marriage, they had 40 varieties of sweets. मैंने कहा भाई 40 varieties of sweets, then कितना खाना रहोगे? Like okay, बड़े लोग. I thought that. So yeah. So that's what it is. So the still Pragya person is like his senses are controlled. It is under his control and it goes along with his plan. What he has planned, it will be utilized in the same plan only. It will not deviate from here and there. He is not under the control of senses, but the senses are under his control. Right. So two words comes, Godas and Goswami. Godas is go means senses. Go also means guy. Go also means senses. So when you say Gopal, Gopal also means the same thing what Rishikesh means. Pal means the maintainer. So someone who maintains your senses, Gopal. Someone who maintains the cow, Gopal. Gopal means both things, and both are for Krishna. Now Govind, master of senses. Both Govind, Gopal, everywhere it's the same thing. Right. So Godas means someone who is das of Go, who is das of their senses. Not is simply. My senses say that do this, I will do that. Because I'll those senses because of those sense object I will get more enjoyment. I will do that. Then there are other type of people who are Goswamis. We hear about Goswamis, right? Goswamis who completely control their senses. The senses are under their complete control. Now the senses do not dictate to them, but for us it's the opposite. All the senses dictate to us what needs to be done. And because we are under the control of senses life after life after life, what happens? We keep on doing the same karma, right, and get stuck into this world here. Only that is only reason, all because of those senses. Right? It blackmails us, you'll get enjoyment. Why are you doing this and that, right? And then someday we give up and start doing that. We start enjoying those sense objects, thinking that we are the owner of all our senses. And and the funny thing is, we don't get anything in return. The enjoyment also what we get is for few seconds, right? For few seconds only. You eat the rasgulla only for 2-3 seconds. It will be taste. After that, it will be your blood making more. Yeah, one more round. One more round of rasgulla. Right. So it does not give you anything. It does not give anything in return. But then, if senses are strong, our intelligence gives us. Right. So we should be trying to become Goswami rather than being a Godas. That should be our purpose of life. Not. अच्छा है. It's not a name, right? You get a lot of people called Susil, and how Susil are they only they know, right? Or Anand, and they are the most distressed people. So name doesn't mean anything for the people or for the mortal people or human actually. Name means nothing. It is just a name given to them. Only God's name means something which justifies the name. When he says Shyam Sundar, like it was there in the Kirtan which we had. When he says Shyam Sundar, He is Shyam Vard and he is the most beautiful person. You can justify by the way. But एक हिंदी में कहावत है ना, आँख के अंदर नाम नाम नैन सुख. आँख से दिखता नहीं है, but नाम का मतलब पिता नजर नैन सुख. He is getting all the enjoyment by his seat, but he doesn't see anything. So for human, the name does not mean anything. So Godas and Naam rest below, or you keep the name or you don't, doesn't mean anything. Right? But people in general, mostly, right, they are Godas rather than being Goswami. So we should be master of senses and servant of God, not uh, not the opposite way which we are, that servant of senses and master of God. People think that I can own the God. I have done this yajna, I have done that activity, I will own the God. Right now, God should give me this, demanding because I have done this, so God should give me this. Why did I give 4-5 kilos of laddu if I am not getting that? Our yesterday's Saturday class lecture was on that. So we should try to become Goswami, um, not Godas. So, like one example, tongue. Second most actually. But in regular life, the most hardest. But if you comparatively do all the senses, then it's the second most. First most is something Udaras. You come to know later. Someday. That's the most difficult to control. Your urges. Right. So, what do you use these senses for? Like tongue. What do you use the tongue for? किस बोलना और स्वाद. Right? For two things, speaking and tasting. Right. So now when to speak? Starting with the first one. For speaking. When to speak? What do you think? When we should speak? When we want to communicate. That time we have to speak. Okay. You can communicate. Virat Kohli is playing very well and this and that and all those things. I wanted to communicate how great is Indian cricket team or politics or something. Prajalpa ke time we should speak. And that is Prajalpa. Okay. So, yes, sir. That's true, right? So we discussed in last class. You are intelligent until you open your mouth. The moment you open your mouth, hey, we thought this guy would be. And how this? Right? So, there is a great saying there.
In official meetings, most of the time people remain silent.
Yes, obviously, they are intelligent. Right? A lot of time when questions are asked, we'll keep on saying down. अगर देख लिए तो question will be honest. किसने किसने ये किया है? At least I have done that. कि difficult question are being asked, I'll see here and there, so that he does not see me. No eye contact. Eye contact means you answer, right? So like that. So when what our shastra says that when to speak, huh? When it is for glorifying the God. When you have to take the God's name, when you have to glorify the God, when you have to bring someone near to the God, only that time you should actually speak. So, does that mean in office? Sit? No? Why? Prabhuji, Abhishek Prabhuji told you should speak only when you are glorifying God. And here it's a client. No, I will not speak. So, should we do that? Why not? Why not? What is the problem? Yes, Father, right? Maybe how?
So there,
When I manager, when I was in Oracle, this guy was, he literally did not know a lot of things. Right? He was perfect example of that saying which you said. You are intelligent only when you open your mouth. Because he was a little higher post, so everyone knew, okay, he is in Oracle for 20 years, he will be some great. And there was one, his habit was any meeting will be happening. Whatever era, Tom, Dick, and Harry kind of meeting is happening. Related to his topic, some other topic, China, India war, or America, Iran war, right? He has to speak in that. It was his habit. So one day there was a meeting happening for automation and all, and nothing related to him. Something like DevOps or something meeting happening because Scrum comes that also came up. Now this guy started asking question on that. So the person who was like a little higher up on it, so he first ignored. Then again he started asking question why this and that and all. He does not even know the history ABC of that, but he is asking question on that. Those questions he is not even related to, it does not concern me, but he is asking question. 1 to 10 that happened, उसके बाद से ये आपका एरिया नहीं है, ठीक है? You please sit silently, ठीक है? We'll take care. Whoever is concerned, they will take care. So yes, you should speak, but again, like I think some Prabhuji or Mother, someone said that whenever it is required, not unnecessarily. First thing is that. Now, it is not like in office when you are speaking, you are glorifying the Lord in reality. Right? So should you not speak? It doesn't mean you should not speak. Because that is your swadharma. That is your duty. You have taken a job, it is your duty to speak. The job you are doing, the intention for doing the job is also what is your intention? If it is for earning money, then it is always. If it is like, okay, I will, yes, I need money to sustain, I need money for survival, right? I need money to raise kids in a Christian consistent. That's why I'm doing the job. I'm not someone who's behind money, that I will leave everything, I will be even behind money. If that is the intention, yes, that's your duty to speak. So you will speak. That's also your swadharma, what you are doing there. Right. But in those conditions when it is not required, it's better to open our mouth or better to speak when it is related to something good. When we are glorifying the Lord, when we are making, or sometimes like we may not be glorifying the God directly, but we are ensuring that okay, I am bringing someone near to Krishna, or I am telling them about Krishna. And sometimes what happens, like in I give some this examples, sometime in my staff also. Right. Sometimes what we do, we go to the meeting. We join the meeting. Indians are actually, I think I don't know how many times I am told, but Indians are very, very punctual in sarcastic way for joining the meeting in time. Right. Always 2-3 minutes late. So you want to glorify God. Say, join the meeting 1 minute early. No one talks about business that time. Everyone, what is the weather? What is this? What is that? What did you do? So I try to, or we can join the meeting 2 minutes back. Somebody joins. Because someone joins only when they get notification this meeting is started. No one joins before that. So when you join, another person will certainly join. You don't have to wait. They will join. 1 minute is there by the time others join. Let's wait for a minute when others are joining. That time, how's the weather and this and I don't know why people keep on asking weather. What's so? It's such a boring thing. Every time, how's the weather? I mean, क्या करोगे यार weather के बारे में जान के? Well, every time, whether it is hot or cold or snow or this and that, and every day like I'm getting bored. The better thing is that how was your day? What did you do in the weekend? So that so I take the opportunity. I went to the temple. The temple has this thing, that thing. So oh, that thing happened. That's festival. Oh, you guys play that kind of festival. So they get intrigued. Even though you are not directly glorifying the God, but you are telling about God. It puts some small interest in their mind. Okay, next time we will hear about say Janmashtami. Someone told me about this particular thing in my call. I know about this thing. Right. That way you can utilize the time. Not directly, right, but indirectly also. Right. So anywhere from you can say there's a lot of space on the carpet. Right. So when to speak, when you have, when it is required, when it is necessary, and whenever you get the opportunity, try to speak which glorifies the Lord, taking God's name, bringing people nearer to Krishna. Right. Then it is actually the proper way or the actual use, the perfect use of your tongue when you are speaking. Right. Not for doing the gossip. But not that funny, but yes. Not for doing the gossip all the time. This movie had happened. Oh, did you see that trailer and this and that? Doesn't really a great utilization of your time. Right. Someone who wants to see the movie, they will go and see the movie just by your saying no one is going to see the movie or not. Right. If they are having willingness, they will see. Or whatever, even if they see the movie once, good it is. We know what our movie industry has done to our country. So really not something very important. So yes, Maharaj.
Everybody knows.
That's not present part. Take control of the situation. The best way. Don't stop. Take control of the situation. The talk is happening of Virat Kohli and cricket. Arey, you know Virat Kohli started going to Maharaj. Now he started doing japa. Same topic, different perspective. Take control of the situation. Move the topic. And what all people want? They want to do gossip. For them, this is also gossip, but at least it's a God related gossip. They're doing something good. Right. If you are not able to take control, you are always getting called. Ah, hello. Leave. Because it's not going to serve any good for you. Right. You can always get called, or you can always hit your friend. अरे यार call कर दे यार बता रहे हैं मुझे. Right. So better way like take control of the situation. You can always have any condition, right? Whatever A, B, C, pizza, this and that, even eatery thing. Arey, I know a very sattvic restaurant. There only prasadam is being served, and this is the tastiest food you ever get. Like in Thakur Govindas. Right. It's the tastiest Govindas what I have. See, the top of food in a proper way. We are talking about prasadam. You can divert any topic in the way that it becomes because other लोगों के लिए कोई फर्क नहीं पड़ता है all they want is gossip right so उनके लिए भी हाँ कुछ बात होनी चाहिए it doesn't matter वो क्या बात होगी हाँ absolutely so we'll discuss that a little more going further but so from your point our shastra says that our tongue, when we talk about like gossip, it behaves like our human behave like a frog. The frog thinks that they're doing they're doing very melodious. They're doing it very sweetly and they're attracting a lot of people. But actually, what they attract? Snakes. They don't always attract the female frog. Now, there are 10 people doing that to attract one female frog. But most of the time, they attract the snake. Same way when we use our tongue like that, by doing unnecessary talk, we attract the death. That's what our Shastra says. The only thing we attract is death. It doesn't serve any purpose for our progress. Right? So, utilizing our tongue very judiciously and in a proper way, which gives progress for our spiritual life, not destructive. Right? Then another use of tongue is right. So what we can taste a lot of things. We can taste anything we want. But then what should we taste? Prasada. Why now the question comes why always prasada? Why not I can taste whatever I want? What is the problem with tasting anything? Karmic rates, the prasadam is the biggest way you accumulate karma. One plate of food, you don't know how much the person who is growing that wheat or rice, how many germs, animals, insects are killed in growing that one bowl of rice. You don't know how many people are exploited by growing that one bowl of rice. The person who is going to the mandi to sell that, how they are exploited. The person who is giving the profit, right? It has at every step, it has so much karma that the prasadam is the biggest way someone can accumulate the karma in their life. Yeah. So sadhana is the biggest way someone generates the karma. Food is the biggest way someone generates the karma. Now, if just give me one. I don't know why it's not working. Just- Sorry for that. I don't know why in my mobile aeroplane mode always goes silent. Alright. Yeah. So when you offer the prasadam or when you eat prasadam, when you offer the bhoga to Bhagwan, what do you do? What happens? That it takes all the karma. What you get is nothing but the remnant. That's why it's called prasadam. The remnant means it is karma free diet. So that's why we should try to eat as much as possible prasadam, and if possible, only prasadam. Prasadam doesn't mean just one dana of that. Prasadam means you can make anything, whatever your wish, and you offer to Lord Sattvic, of course, Sattvic, right? You cannot offer anything to Bhagwan as a prasadam. No. Right. So Sattvic thing. You can offer to Lord and then you eat. In the end, you are only eating. But then it becomes karma free diet when you offer it to the Lord. So the use of tongue. We are discussing about the senses. So speak only when it is necessary and as much as possible when it is an opportunity to glorify the Lord. And taste the sadhana as much as possible or all the time. Right. So Srila Prabhupada says that the test of a yogi, devotee, or self realized soul is that he is able to control the senses according to his plan. We discussed that. The senses are compared to the venomous serpents. They want to act very loosely and without restriction. The yogi or the devotee must be very strong to control the serpents, like a snake charmer. If there is no one to control the snake, the senses acts like snake. Right? They want to just do whatever they want. But when there is a snake charmer, he controls their movement. They don't go here and there. They are always within the premises or within the pot where they are kept. So we should be our mind and intelligence should be like which can control our senses like a snake charmer, so that our senses are always in control of us. Then the example, the further he says that unless one is able to follow the do's and don'ts, restricting oneself from sense enjoyment, it is not possible to be firmly fixed in Krishna consciousness. Now, there are do's and don'ts, like we are talking about here, prasadam, what to eat, what not to eat, right? All those regulative principles, four regulative principles, right? No meat eating, no gambling, no intoxication, and no illicit relationship, right? There are rules and regulations. These are there because when you start following that, it purifies your senses. How does it purify your senses? We'll see that first, like in next verse. Right, but this purifies your senses, and slowly and gradually your mindset will or your progress will become towards the sthir prajna. Without that, it is not possible. That's what Srila Prabhupada is saying here. Follow the do's and don'ts so that you can progress in the path of Krishna consciousness. And at the last, later on, he says that someone who is not following the do's and when someone can stop following the do's and don'ts when they are perfectly at that platform of Krishna consciousness. That time they can stop. Why? We'll see that. Then he gives the example of tortoise. The tortoise can any moment wind up its senses and exhibit them again at any time of particular purpose. So anyone has seen tortoise, whenever he senses any danger around it, what it does? It goes inside the shell. Right? You don't see his head and limbs outside because his outer shell is very strong. So any danger, he goes inside. That's a perfect example of how practically we can do that, not just theoretically. Like you said, somewhere where Prajalpa is happening. If you cannot control of the senses, you cannot control of the situation. What you should do? Take an excuse, move. You'll always find hundreds of excuses, right? Because you are not able to do. Because what does Prajalpa do? It does not just waste your time, but it also agitates your mind. You start thinking about those nonsense things which you should not. Someone is talking about movies and this and that, Bollywood and Hollywood and all those things, and your mind will go there only. 10 minutes talk, 20 minutes of thinking. Right. Arey, haan, aisa hua to waisa hua. It's a waste of time, ultimately. Right. So, like a tortoise, we should pull back our senses. And this is a very practical way. A lot of things which agitates our senses. There are a lot of things. Take any senses, for example, like someone who used to eat, let's say, someone who used to eat non-vegetarian food, right? And they started coming to Krishna consciousness, they are leaving that. But because they used to eat, they know the taste. When they see it, it agitates their mind. Okay, right? Okay, but this is something, it was very tasty and this and that, or when they heard the name. What is the best way? If they keep on seeing that again and again and again, one day it is happening that they are going to give up. What is the best way? Right. Someone like who's going to all the parties with friends, and that party always happens in a bar. A lot of people actually start like I know a lot of people actually start drinking and in those situations, right? Even though no one at their home were drinking and all, and it was never a culture in the whole society itself, but because of the peer pressure, they start drinking it. So, what is the best way? If you cannot control, if you are strong enough, like I'm not here praising myself, but just as an example here, my roommates every weekend that was a ritual. Like someone always had the problem with their girlfriend or at home or shadi or whatever. Hey, and the only solution was take a bottle or many bottles. Take. And I used to have the thumbs up or whatever the normal drink or जो भी उस समय मतलब that time I was not in Krishna consciousness, right? जो भी नमकीन होता था, that was my food. बाकी रोते रहते थे, I used to eat that, right? You know, there are always in all group there is one person who eats all the namkeen, right? So if you are strong enough, no one can force you that, right? But then it agitates. One day you may give up. Right. If someone is not that strong, it's better to don't go to those situations. So pull your sense senses from those sense objects. Someone is not very, a very relevant example. Someone is not very much firm or they don't have that strong willpower against say some sweets. Then they should stop like even seeing the sweets. Because if they keep on seeing the sweets, one day they are going to, or one time they are going to give up. Right? So, like a tortoise pulls up its lips inside and head, we should also try to pull up. But that is the only practical way how we can do in starting by following do's and don'ts and taking out ourselves from those situations. Right? If we cannot control, better to take. Any question? Just like tortoise. So, there's one beautiful story comes. Anyone knows this? You know? Whose story is this? This is Jada Bharat. So Bharat was a great king. On his name only, not the brother of Sri Ram Bharat, but Bharat Maharaj. There was another great king long back in the same lineage. Right. He was a great king, and on his name only Bharat was called Bharat. Right. Our country is called Bharat. He was a great devotee of the Lord and he was completely fixed in Krishna consciousness. He was at that stage, like out of 9 stages, The second topmost stage is Bhav. He was at the stage of Bhav. And then what happened? There was a deer, the cub deer, what is it called? Fawn, right? Cub deer or fawn. And it was just flowing in the river. It was injured. So he just saved that deer and he got attached to it. He started taking care of deer. He got attached. And he got so much attached that he actually took sannyas. He took manprastha and sannyas. And he was in the jungle for doing only, he was doing only Bhagwan ka naam lena, like remembering the God and doing his tapasya, exactly. Yeah, that's the word I was thinking. He was doing tapasya there. But he got so much attached to that deer that what he did that at the end moment, he was only thinking about the deer. What would happen when I die to the deer? Right. And we have discussed, I don't know, nth times that how do you get the next life? Two things, your karma and your consciousness at the time of death. And he was thinking about the deer. Next life he got is of deer. Because he was a very pious person, he was a great devotee of the Lord, obviously he would have a karma to become a deer, at least that much. So his consciousness was to take care of the deer, he became deer in his next life. But the good thing was, he never forgot why he, like his past life and why he became deer. Now, even though when he was a deer, he was not after sense enjoyment. He was only eating dry leaves. He was going to wherever sadhus live, where sadhus were doing Krishna Katha or they doing Harinam. Right? He was only going there and hearing and listening to that. With that, next life he was born in a family of Brahmanas. Right? And he remembered all his past life, at least these two lives. So what he did, he knew that what mistake I did when I was Bharat. So this time what I will do, I will not even go to those things which will agitate my mind or which will make me attached to something material. So he started showing himself as a fool. Jada means hota hai मूर्ख. Okay, जड़ का मतलब होता है rude, dull or मूर्ख मतलब it's same thing, right? Dull-headed, right? Jada means like that. So his name became Jada Bharat, right? So he was called Jada Bharat. What he was showing that I am a very fool, I don't know anything. Even if he knew every single thing, because he knew every single thing actually. Whatever Shastras, Vedas, everything he studied, he perfectly knew all the knowledge. But whenever he has to recite the sloka, he will recite opposite. Or he will recite wrong way. So that no one can think that he knows that. Or he has the knowledge. And when people will not think that he has the capability, he has the knowledge, they will not engage him in those activities. And he will only do his tapasya for God. He will do his devotional service alone. No one will disturb him. So he was going into jungle. And there's a long story, but long story short, the king of the kingdom, King Rahugana, he was going on like he needed some people for his palanquin, and one of the persons, so palanquin, palki, like 4 people take the palki on their shoulder. One of the person he got sick, so they were searching for someone who can take the palki and go somewhere, take him wherever he was going. So King Rahugana was sitting in the palki and the people were finding and they got him. And he was strong, but he was a good built person, so they took him. And because he was like, okay, whatever comes, I will not speak, right? I will not open my mouth for unnecessary things. So he said, "Wah, theek hai, jo aa raha hai." He took that, they took him. He became the palanquin carrier. And he was going there, all 4 people. Now think of a situation when 4 people are carrying the palanquin and one person stops somewhere in between. What will happen? Not all will stop, but others are moving right. When 2 people move together and one person stops, the whole thing gets jolted. That's what happening. So anywhere he sees the ants are on the ground or insects are there, he will stop immediately. And other people are in the motion, they will like, inertia. Right, that affected. So King sarcastically made a fun. Oh, looks like the newest person is so tired when the other person, the weak person, are not that tired. So he was like sarcastically, King was taunting him. Then later on, again, it keep on happening. He gave the warning a couple of times. Then he became very angry. The when it keeps on happening one after one. Because he was stopping everywhere. Whenever he sees aunt, he will stop, and then he was like, the king was like, he will about to fall from the palanquin. Right, from the palki was about to fall. He got very angry. He get down and he says that, you know who I like. You know who I'm the king, and you are doing this thing and that thing. Like he started scolding him. That time, Jad Bharat opened his mouth and he said, like, I'm going to kill you right now. Okay, you did this thing to the king. Only that time Jad Bharat opened his mouth. And what he said that he gave a long discourse. The one thing he said that, "O king, you think that you are the king in this life, right? Or you are the king. But this is temporary. In this life, you are the king. Few lives back, I was the king and you were my servant. Right. He actually tells him ki who was he? He was Bharat. Actually, he was ancestor of King Rahugana. His ancestor of same king. And then he realizes he gave him a great discourse of um, about the soul and what is the life, the purpose of life, and all those things. And the king actually was going to the Kapil Muni to make him guru. But he got him in between, and a great discourse he gave, and he does his prostrate dandavat, and he says that become my guru. Right. So, what does this story say that? What do you what do you learn from this particular story? इसमें जान पे आना हाँ मतलब that's a one way of seeing that कि when he was about to die, but the main thing is this: he controlled his senses for all the time until it was absolutely necessary. But it was not told to him that you speak. Right? But when it was absolutely necessary, then only he spoke. All other time, it's like I will not speak. Huh. Like a tortoise. When it is required, only then it will come out and he will do his daily duty. Anytime he sees that or he senses the danger, he'll be in his shell. That's how we have to control our senses also. That story tells about that. Any question? We'll go to the next verse. Vishya vinivartante niharas niha nirahar rasya dehina rasovarjam rasopyasya param trishva nivartate Vishya vinivartante निराहारस्य देहिना रसवर्जं रसोपस्यस्य परं दृष्ट्वा निवर्तते
विषया विनिवर्तन्ते
विषया विनिवर्तन्ते
निराहारस्य देहिनः
निराहारस्य देहिना
रसवर्जं रसोऽप्यस्य
रसवर्जं रसोपस्यस्य
परं दृष्टा निर्वर्तते
परं दृष्ट्वा निवर्तते विषया विनिवर्तन्ते निराहारस्य देहिना रसवर्जं रसोपस्यस्य परं दृष्ट्वा निवर्तते. So translation by Isabel Haridas from Though the embodied soul may be restricted from sense enjoyment, the taste for sense enjoyment objects remains. But ceasing such engagement by experiencing a higher taste, he is fixed in Krishna consciousness. Right. So what Krishna says here is, a lot of people they think that the way to sense control is right to stop your senses. That you completely stop your senses. Like, there are some yogis. There are some yogis who think that or who practice that Sense control means I will stop eating, or I will stop seeing, right? I will stop smelling, hearing. Then I'll be in complete sense control. But it is like how it is like. It is like someone has cataract, and what do? You take out their eyes. You are controlling the senses, no doubt. You are curing the disease, but along with that, you are doing a lot of a bigger, way bigger harm. Right? So that is not the permanent solution. That's what being said here. They may try to restrict the people who try to restrict the senses from the sense object forcefully. What it does, your mind already has the impression. And any time, like we're talking about the sweets here, right? When you see there is a heap of gulab jamun and you are like, I will not eat because someone has said that. I will not eat it. But then you see, yaar, एक गुलाब जामुन इतना टेस्टी है, एक महीने हो गया, I have not eaten one gulab jamun, just one. I will surely go to the gym today and do this 10 minutes extra exercise, but just one gulab jamun. So he will not, his mind will be agitated. He will not get the motive, or yeah, he will give up in the end, right? And he will have it because he has not left the impression of the thing which is already in his mind, right? The taste for sense object already remains in his mind. So then what is the way? That's written here. Param drishtva nivartate. Very important line. Param drishtva nivartate. The higher experiencing, the higher taste. Right. We'll discuss that. What does that mean? The solution is not to remove, but to purify. And that is param drishtva nivartate. So the nature of the jiva is, there are two things. Like a jiva means soul. What is the nature of jiva? To do the activity. Well, a jiva cannot not do any activity. They have to do something. Right. Even sleeping. When you say, I'm sleeping, I'm not doing anything. That also you're doing something. You're sleeping. You're breathing. Right. So a soul cannot live without doing anything. That's the nature of the soul. Right. And desire. A soul cannot have no desire. There will always be a desire. Now the desire can be spiritual desire or material desire, but a soul cannot be without desire. So the desire and acts, both of the things, it cannot be stopped. So it is said, the thing is like Atma also has its own senses. It is not just the body which has senses. Atma also has its own senses, and because it is covered by all those material and subtle body, it does not come out in open. But when it is purified, slowly by doing devotional service, these impurities which is covering the Atma, the senses of Atma, that gets removed slowly. Cheto Darpa Marjanam. Right. So, as an example, like a lot of people ask that question. Just a little side topic, but yeah, very relevant with that. A lot of people ask that question. This person is already in bhakti, then why he is doing that kind of behavior? He was better before, then now he has come to Krishna consciousness. You might have seen or heard that question, or may have seen some people like that. Because the answer is the answer given in our Shastra is like that. When a room is very dirty, when you go in that room and you are just walking very slowly, you don't feel it is really dirty. You know that it is dirty, but you don't know what extent it is dirty. But when you started roaming in the room, when you start cleaning the room, all the dirt goes inside in the air, and then you actually start feeling how much actually the impurity, the dirt,
The impurity that
impurity level of dirt was there in that room. That's how our life is also. The soul, it is covered by so much impurities that when we start cleaning by taking God's name, by doing devotional service, they just start coming. वो धीरे धीरे निकलती है, जब निकलेगा तभी फैलेगा, right? It will spread only when it is out of that place, right? And that's where a lot of these kind of undesirable characteristic of people start showing, right? So Cheto Darpan Marjanam, these what it does in starting, it will look like this is like going in a bad way, but no, this is Cheto Darpan Marjanam. This is your cleaning process. This is purifying. It will happen with every single person. It will happen. That's a process. It doesn't mean you will stop cleaning. It means you continue cleaning, because one day, one time, the room will be perfectly clean. Right? So don't start judging people at the start itself. Like this guy was better when he was not in bhakti. Now he's like that. Because anarthas are coming from him. So what does it do? It does the purification of the spiritual senses. So Padma Puran and Chaitanya Charitamrita, this particular verse comes. Atha Sri Krishna Namadi Nam Avet Griham Indriya. So Sevan Mukhe Hi Jihvadau Swayam Eva Spurti Yada. Right. Therefore, the material senses cannot appreciate Krishna's holy name for qualities and pastimes, because it's material. The taste is of material things. When a conditioned soul is awakened to Krishna consciousness and renders service by using his tongue to chant the Lord's holy name and taste the remnants of the Lord's food, the tongue is purified, and one gradually comes to understand who Krishna really is. That is the only way to understand Krishna. When we start doing the devotional service, when we start cleaning, when we start purifying our senses. Otherwise, with the material senses, people say that, how can I believe God? Show me God. What is your qualification to see the God? We cannot even see a germ with our naked eye. Forget about God. What is our qualification? When Arjun has to see Bhagwan's Vishwarup, he had to get the Chakshu, Divya Chakshu. Are we qualified even to see the God? People do thousands of years of tapasya to see the God. Like in Satyuga, I'm talking about. Then someone, any Tom, Dick and Harry come and say that, show me God, then I'll don't believe. Who's lost? Are you qualified enough to see the God? It's like someone comes and asks me, I will believe only that Trump is President of United States of India when he comes and gives me a handshake. Am I qualified to get a handshake from Trump? Either I believe or not, it doesn't matter. Trump is the President of United States of America. It doesn't matter what I believe or not. So God is there. Whether I believe or not, it does not change the fact that God is there. It is my problem I believe or I don't believe. I don't believe, my loss. I'll be here doing all those things. So that's what I say. Material senses cannot comprehend the taste, the namras of God. Right. So slowly we have to purify to get the higher taste through devotional service. And the first thing how we should start devotional service is using Sevan Mukhe Hi Jihvadau. The first two things we should start using the tongue for glorifying the name. How? By doing chanting Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram Ram, Hare Hare. Glorifying the Lord's name, doing japa, doing the chanting, right? And taking the prasadam as much as possible or all the time, if possible. First step is to do that. Right? So Param Drishta Nivartate is very important. The higher taste. Now, what do I mean by higher taste? Here. So, a lot of examples. One of example is this. There is a beggar, and what he eats at his home, some sukhi roti or whatever some people give him. Okay, this is something remained at my home. People give him, that's what he ate. Or simply rice sambar, maybe in the Purna kitchen, where it is given very low cost, right? He eats that. And one day someone comes and he says that, okay, there are 7 days Bhagavatam, you'll get the perfect prasadam. And he sits that, he gets the roti, sabji, dal, chawal, 2 types of sweets, sambar, and all those things. And for 7 days he ate only that. Now think of it, from 8th day, will he again Will you like to go back to the usual sukhi roti again? No, right? Like when we were kids, there's a tricycle outside. We used to ride those kind of tricycles. Then we became a little older. We got the bicycle. Then a little older, we got the bike. Then car, and someone got BMW car, and someone who drives the BMW car and gives them Alto key. Now you have to drive this. Would they like to do that? No, right? Until it's an emergency, that's a different condition, right? But if there is an option, they will not go to that. Right? That is a higher taste. So, higher taste means when you actually get the taste of bhakti, when you actually get the taste of devotional service, you will automatically, you don't have to do work. Automatically, these material taste, you will start losing it without doing any extraneous work, like we discussed last time. This will go automatically, this will happen automatically. Like the people who are coming in the class from some time, you might have seen some changes in you. Now you really don't, you may be not really willing to go into those places where a lot of gossip is happening. You're like feel bored there. Happens with anyone here? Right. Or if there is a Saturday, Sunday, and Sunday it is told no class on Saturday, no class on Sunday, you're like, then what will I do? It starts happening like that. It's like it has become your life, and you don't have, like, you start feeling like, if there is no class, if there is no service, then what shall I do? Automatically, no one forced it. It happens automatically. So when you start actually getting the taste of bhakti, even little taste, these things automatically start happening in your life. You don't have to do any extra work. Like this person will not go back to, if he has option, he will not go back to the sukhi roti and the ghee namak, tel namak, right? He will feel hai, to why should I go to that? So when we have bhakti in our life, why should we go back to the material thing? Like an example, this. Anything you can use in your life, this is a very famous meme. So yesterday I remembered that meme, I thought I'll put it in the class. So bhakti does not mean that you have to restrict your senses for anything you want. Okay, from today I will eat only roti, sabzi, roti and minimal thing, and that's it. I will take the full tapasya because your senses are not purified. If you go that way, you are surely going to fall. First purifies it. How does it purify? Like this way. You want to eat pizza? No problem. Don't order from Domino's. Make it at home. Offer to Lord. Do the bhoga and eat the prasadam. So pizza can be eaten two ways, either from the Domino's or Pizza Hut. Nothing against Domino's and Pizza Hut here. I have not given money from the third party here. Right. So nothing against them, but again, those are not prasad. We have to know that. You can make pizza, pasta, anything, whatever you want to eat. Offer to Lord. Make it sattvic, not like you have to eat. कि मेरा मीट खाने का मन है, आज मैं चिकन करी बना के भगवान को ऑफर करूंगा. Big vikarma, right? So don't do anything which is not prescribed in the Shastra, right? But if it is not prescribed in the Shastra, you should not eat pizza. You can eat pizza, right? Offer to Lord and eat it, right? You want to eat music? Stop listening to that nonsense. You can listen to Kirtan. I'll give you my example here in that. So, when I was in college, even long, say 4 years back, long after college also. Like, if anyone knows the term headbanger, you know the term headbanger in college? Someone who's so much into rock music, like they bang their head like that. They're called headbangers, right? The big hairs. I used to have big hair, right? And they will be like in rock concert or not metal but rock concert, they'll be doing like this. So they're called headbanger. So I was kind of that person, and I had like hundreds of GBs in my hard drive only music, rock music. Since I started listening to Kirtan and all, now even though if I know this album, my favorite artist album is coming and all, and I don't feel the taste. Even if someone sends me, my old friends and all, or it comes from some group. I will listen maybe 1 minute or half minute. Okay, ठीक है, अच्छा है या नहीं है, then that's it. That's the max I do. Before that, it was like I'm waiting for this. Oh, this day this album is getting released and this that. Automatically, I did not do anything, and that will happen automatically. You lose the taste of this material thing. You will taste the higher thing. When you listen to the kirtana, it does not force you to bang your head. Right? It also gives you the calmness. It gives you the pleasure inside heart. Right? A lot of you yourself would have experienced that how blissful you start feeling when you listen to the soothing, calm kirtan, or even a rocking kirtan. You start dancing. Your legs and hand will automatically start dancing. You don't have to do anything. Right. So you want to listen to music? There are so many bands you can listen to. Marpuris, Madhavas,
Recently,
Bhajan clubbing, right? Exactly. And that are more crowd than the normal rock concerts or normal concerts. So because it is soothing to the soul, it gives the bliss. People understand that the taste they are getting, they don't get in the normal music or the normal Discarinago. I don't know which song is that. If anyone knows. But this is KYE. I just put Bollywood music and this was the first thing which came there in the Google. So I put that too. Right? So that is a higher taste, that is a higher happiness which you start getting. Right? So Srila Prabhupada mentions here, unless one is transcendently situated, it is not possible to cease from sense enjoyment. The process of restriction from sense enjoyment by rules and regulation is something like restricting a diseased person from certain types of eatables. So if you are forcefully stopping someone not to feed, like you are diabetes, like if Megha say, you are diabetes, don't eat sweet, don't eat sweet. It's like when she is not there, I eat. Because that is her. It happens with everyone. Right? We are not purified. Our senses are not purified. So, अरे अभी तो नहीं देख रहा ना अभी खा ले तो कर क्या पता चलेगा. We will behave like that because the impression is still there. That way it will not work. One who has tasted the beauty of Supreme Lord Krishna in the course of his advancement in Krishna consciousness no longer has a taste for dead material things, like we are discussing. Therefore, restrictions are there for the less intelligent neophytes in their spiritual advancement of life. But such restrictions are only good until one is actually has a taste of Krishna consciousness. This all we discussed. When one is actually in Krishna consciousness, he automatically loses this taste for pale things. So there is a story. A story was this is a very beautiful thing. It was one gopi tells to another gopi. Smera bhangi traya parichitam sachi vistena drishte vansi nyastadhar kishalayam ujjalam chandrakena govind dakham haritanum itah kesi tirthopakante ma prisht ma prishthisthastava yadi sakhe bandhusange sthirata. It means a gopi is saying that do you have any attachment towards your uh, relatives, friends, husbands, right? Husbands, not husband, right? Not with S. Ignore the S here, right? With your relatives or material things. Like, oh my friend, if you have desire to enjoy with your friend and relatives, then do not look upon the form of the Sri Krishna wandering near Kesi Ghat on the banks of Yamuna River at Vrindavan, with a slight smile on his lips, posed in his threefold bending posture, Tribhantu Swarup, eyes glancing everywhere in a crooked fashion, like like that. It means that. Flute placed on his red lower lip, like a tender bud, and shining gloriously with a peacock feather. So, describing Krishna, his beautiful forms, the Gopi says that if we have any attachment, do not ever go to the Krishna because if you go to Krishna, who is that beautiful, you are going to lose your all attachment. So, she is giving a caution to other Gopi. If you go to Krishna, this is the disclaimer, this is the warning. and we have warning 44,000 words. So this is the warning. If you have attachment and you want to continue your attachment, do not go to Krishna, because you will certainly going to lose all attachment. Right? A beautiful verse. Because when you see Krishna in that beautiful form, everything else will become very insignificant. You will lose all your taste. And that's what Srila Prabhupada says here also. Yamunacharya also wrote the similar thing. When he was being blessed by the Supreme Personality of Godhead, Dhruva Maharaj said, "Oh Lord, because I was seeking an opulent material." Okay, this is not Yamunacharya. So this is Sthana Vilasi Tapasani, Sthito Tamam Praptam Deva Puditra Guhyam Kancham Vichimvam Api Divya Ratnam Swamim Kritarthosmi Varam Na Yache. So with Dhruv Maharaj, everyone knows why Dhruv Maharaj went to jungle for tapasya, right? You know. So Dhruv Maharaj, long story short, right? He got angry with his father because he did not allow him to sit on his lap. Instead, he allowed his step brother to sit on his lap. So he got angry. He went to jungle for tapasya. With that intention, he was Kshatriya. With that intention that I want 10 times bigger or way bigger kingdom than my father. What father? Even grandfather, even great grandfather, which is Lord Brahma. I want bigger kingdom than Lord Brahma himself is having. With that mood, with that intention, he went to jungle for tapasya. He met Narad Muni. Narad Muni tries to stop him. He could not stop because he was very determined. And then he goes to jungle for tapasya. He told him how to do, and he does the tapasya. So severe, so austere, that even Devatas started feeling choked, because he was at the end of the 6th month. They were like only once in 12 days he was taking the breath. 1 in 12 days. So the whole, and when he takes breath, the whole vayu of the universe he was taking inside. People will started feeling suffocated, even Devatas. Right? So they came running to Vishnu and he said, okay, I will take care of that. So Vishnu comes here, in this picture what you are seeing. He takes his conch on his head. He just touches with his conch to Dhruv Maharaj. And what happens? He said, now you are, even though Lord Vishnu knows, he is in everyone's heart, what is his desire. But he still asks, what do you want? That's when he tells this particular verse. When I have already gotten the jewel, the topmost jewel, while I was looking for the broken glass, but when I see you, I have gotten the celestial jewels, the best of the best jewels of this world. Why should I seek for the broken glass? The broken glass means the kingdom, the bigger kingdom. When I got your darshan, when I got the taste of Krishna Bhakti, I don't need to go to the lower platform to seek these material things. They said, I don't want anything. Varam na yache. I don't want anything. I'm completely content. I'm completely satisfied. That means that when we actually get another story also comes. This is Sri Ramanujacharya. He had a great disciple, and that disciple, he was I don't know his name actually. I think not him. There's another disciple. His name, yeah, it was not written in any of the places I did. So he has one disciple who was very good disciple. He was Dikshit from him, but he was very much attached to his wife. So much so that even if his wife goes out, he will be like with umbrella behind her. Okay, kahin dhoop na lag jaye. That kind of attachment. Anyway, not leaving her any places. And people were making fun of him. What kind of devotee are you that you are so much attached to wife, always behind the wife? Right? There's a कहावत है हिंदी, गोरू का गुलाम. क्या? चोरू का गुलाम. उल्टा होते बोल दिया. गौर से replace हो गया. Right? Always behind her. So once Sri Ramanujacharya, he was going to the temple and he saw this being happen. He got very sad, seeing his disciples' condition. And He said like, okay, you come with me. I will show you something good. Right, you come with me. He took him to the Sri Rangam temple where Lord Vishnu is sleeping in this pond, what you are seeing here. Right, with eyes half open, hands, head on his hands and sleeping. It's very beautiful detail, very beautiful. He was sleeping like that. And with his mercy, with Sri Ramanujacharya's mercy, he was able to experience the Lord's beauty. And he realizes that whatever I was doing before, it was all useless thing. The best thing what I was missing here. Right. And then he becomes completely like he comes back to the right path and starts doing the devotional service under his guidance. Excuse me.
Making this guy. So, slowly it says that this one like he was like carrying I was so like part of the women's sexy, he used to carry an umbrella and then he used to make sure that it is not that something not that. So that is when it got the attention of Lama was starting something. What is it really related? So he said he sent one of his disciples to come to next year and visit like
Right, absolutely. So actually in this story there's one very, very important thing comes. Anyone took notice of that? What very important thing comes here?
Redirect your, or channelize your energy.
That is correct, but even better than that. Now, in this example only I'm saying. In this example, I told one very important line. He is more beautiful, no doubt. But can anyone sees the beauty of Krishna like that? We all go to the temple, right? How many of have experienced the beauty of Krishna? That's where the importance to be. By the grace of Guru, he could see the beauty of Krishna. By the grace of Sri Ramanujacharya, he could understand the beauty. He would have visited the same Sri Rangam temple, the same deities hundreds of times, thousands of times before. But he could never see that. But when there was a grace of Guru, he could actually see that. Yes, Maharaj, you have a question? You have a question? Okay. Right. So we should not forget that the grace of Guru, Kripa of Guru or Kripa of Vaishnava is also very important in this. So another couple of examples. So everyone knows Sri Haridas Thakur. So Sri Haridas Thakur was at Chaitanya Mahaprabhu's time. He was a great associate of Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. Actually, he was born Mohammedan. He was born Muslim. But from childhood itself, he was so much attached to Krishna that he was like always into Krishna Bhakti, taking Lord's name. So he was a person who was thrown from his own society and not accepted in Hindu society also. Muslims say that, अरे ये तो काफिर, ये तो काफिर है, काफिर भगवान का नाम लेता रहता है, so they throw him from, they ostracized him from their society, and Hindus at that time, they were not accepting what Maliksha or Yamuna will do, what kind of thing he will teach us. So he was like ostracized from both places. But he has his goal clear, taking God's name. And he is revered as a Namacharya. How much mala we do? 16 rounds a day? Max? Guess how many rounds he used to do? Nah. नहीं इतना भी नहीं था यार. नहीं. Rounds. मतलब one round has 108 beats.
So 108.
192 rounds. 21 to 22 hours every day. So much so that he became the most famous person in his area. And there was a Jamidar on that area. His name was, ironically, Ramachandra Khan. Ramachandra Khan. See the irony here. He became jealous of this person because he was very famous. And he's like, how can someone else become famous more than me? So he sent a prostitute, right, to to distract him, to distract Haridas Thakur. So that prostitute came to him and she was like, in evening, she came to him and said like, I want to have a union with you. Like, I want to be with you. He said, okay, I will fulfill your desire, but let me do one thing. I still have my some rounds to be completed. Let me complete my round. So he's like completing his round, going. That lady slept. When she woke up, he again started. The next day round, she goes back. They're like, I'll come in evening again. She says that. Then in evening comes, he said like, oh, I'm very sorry, I could not fulfill your desire. Today I will surely do that, but let me just complete only few rounds of my is pending for me. So he again started doing, and then again she slept off. In the morning she woke up and is like again he's doing right. So she goes back and he said, "Oh, I'm very sorry while she was going back. Today I'm surely will do it. Today only few rounds are pending, so I'll be able to do for sure." When third evening she comes, right, and hearing the Hare Krishna Mahamantra, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Ram, Ram Ram, Hare Hare. From a pure devotee, she herself get converted. She prostrate in front of himself and she like she started crying. And he said, I know who has sent you, I know for what purpose you have came. But I wanted to give you redemption. I wanted to purify you. Anyway, I was going from this place. So now what you have to do? You have to be at this place. I was anyway about to move. Right. There is a Tulsi. You do the Nam Jap, serve the Tulsi Maharani, and she became one of the great female saint of that area. Just by hearing 3 days of Nam, Suddha Nam from a pure devotee. Right. So, and by the way, that lady, so the most beautiful person in this whole area. That's why she was selected to send to him. Any other person, and he was very young person, by the way. You can see in the photo, he was not some old guy. He was very young person, like maybe 20s or something like that. At this age, he was able to control his senses so much. And see, she did not come very much dressed. Or you can think of like what kind of dress he would be wearing. He still was able to control his senses. When you have tasted the higher thing, these small thing does not matter. The last example which I'll give in this respect is our Srila Prabhupada himself. What example am I giving? Hippies. The hippies of the US are like, they were completely indulged into all those bad things. Drugs, illicit relationship. Think of whatever, alcohol. Think of anything you want. All the bad things. And they are the examples. But when Srila Prabhupada touched them, so many of those hippies, they get converted into devotees. They left all those things. What could be better example than that? Right. So, the crux of the verse is when you taste the higher, when you have the taste of the higher thing, param drishtva nivartate, when you experience the higher taste, automatically the tendency to go for the lower tasted, the material things will go down. You don't have to work separately for that. That will happen automatically. So, any question? Shall we complete one more? Or late? One? Maybe 10 minutes. I'll complete. कहीं जाना आपको? Very good. No problem. ठीक है. You can see them. ठीक है. Repeat after. यत तो यपि कौन्तेय पुरुषस्य विपश्चितः इन्द्रियाणि प्रमाणीनि हरन्ति प्रसभं मनः. So, I directly go to the So, translation by the senses are so strong and impetuous, O Arjuna, that they forcibly carry away the mind even of a man of discrimination who is endeavoring to control them. Right. Like we discussed, senses are very demanding. and they're very strong also. It's not easy. It's easier said than done to control the senses. It is so difficult that in purport you will see the picture. Who is this? Vishwamitra. Vishwamitra did tapasya for 60,000 years. 60,000 साल. In Satyuga that was common to live for that long. Not doing tapasya for 60,000 years. But to live that long. They used to live lakhs of years. Right. He did tapasya for 60,000 years to get the Lord, to get the Gyan. And because such a long tapasya, anyone who does the long tapasya, one person gets no problem. Right? So we all know. So Indra sent is the most beautiful Apsara to Menaka, to him. And Menaka comes to him. He did not even see Menaka. By the sound of her ankle bell, his tapasya gets burnt. He gets distracted, his tapasya gets finished. Right. And he get into union of Menaka and Shakuntala was born. 60,000 years. He had all the Gyan. It is not like someone who does not have the Gyan. Right. Vasishtha and Vishwamitra, they were like contemporary, and there was like a competition between them. So Vishwamitra Muni actually went into jungle to be on the level or bigger level of the Vasishtha Muni. Right. He was such a great Muni, Vasishtha Muni. Right. He wanted to be better than that. So he went to tapasya. But one incident, such strong is our senses and Maya. Right. Just one incident, 60,000 years of tapasya gone in a jiffy. Right. Just like that. Just the sound. So that's what Srila Prabhupada writes here. There are many learned sages, philosophers, and transcendentalists who try to conquer the senses. But in spite of their endeavors, even the greatest of them sometimes fall victim of material sense enjoyment due to the agitated mind. Because he did not have the taste of the higher. He did not have the taste of bhakti at that time. So after that few years he realized what was his mistake, and then he again started doing tapasya to come back to again that state. It took him many years again to come to that level again. Right. So therefore it is very difficult to control the mind and senses. But without being fully Krishna conscious, without engaging the mind in Krishna, one cannot see such material engagements. Right. So without taking refuge in bhakti, it's impossible to fully control all senses. That's what written here. So Yamunacharya writes, I'll just write the purport here. The meaning. Since my mind has been engaged in the service of the lotus feet of Lord Krishna, and I have been enjoying an ever new transcendental humor, whenever I think of sex life with a woman, my face at once turns from it, and I spit at that thought. Because he reached at that higher level, he does not have any interest in these mundane things. He tells that. And also, Ambarisha Maharaj, that story comes. So Ambarisha Maharaj was a great king and a great devotee of Krishna. So, so Ambarisha Maharaj, that story will continue next week also, or next class also. So it is written that in the purport, Krishna consciousness is such a transcendently nice thing that automatically material enjoyment becomes distasteful, like we discussed. So Maharaj Ambarisha also conquered the great yogi Durvasa Muni simply because his mind was engaged in Krishna consciousness. So Ambarisha Maharaj was a great devotee, and once Durvasa Muni came to him, and that time it was Ekadashi Vrat. It was Dwadasi actually, but Parayan time was there. And at that time only Durvasa Muni came to him. Now, it is a rule, like we say, do's and don'ts. We have to follow do's and don'ts. So the rule is, you have to break your fast only within the Parayan time. Then only it is considered to be completed or fulfilled. So, that was a very narrow time. When Durvasa Muni came, only few minutes were left. But Durvasa Muni came and he said, okay, I'm here. So you will prepare a feast for me and all my disciples, and I'm just going to take a bath and I'll come back. You wait till then. Now, when a rishi or muni comes, one cannot break the fast without them taking anything. But the parent time is also small, and he has gone for bath. एक बार पानी में गया तो जल्दी तो निकलेंगे नहीं, राइट? अगर वो भी गर्मी का मौसम हो, ठंडा पानी हो और यमुना नदी हो, तो all good things. So he was taking bath 1 hour like that, and then he discussed with his Rajpurohit, what should I do? The time is very short. So they proposed that, okay, what you do, you drink water. That way you are not eating any ann, but you are breaking fast. In a way, you are not breaking fast also, right? Because you are doing in a middle way. So he should also be not offended, and your work is also done. So he takes water. And because Durvasa means living with someone living with whom is very difficult. That literal meaning of Durvasa means that, right? उनके साथ रहना ही बहुत difficult है. He came, and he was a rishi. He knew this happened. He came running angrily, and he, by his power, he made one demon, a big demon. What was his name? No, there was a name. Some asura I forgot. He made a demon and he said like attack, attack on this, like on Ambarisha Maharaj. And Ambarisha Maharaj did not say anything, he did not do anything, he was just chanting the name of Lord. Not even disturbed, he was not even fearful. Like we discussed in the verse, right? When someone is in fully samadhi, he will not have fear or distress or anything. So he was just chanting, like in Sthir Pragya mode, he was chanting the name of Lord. But how can Lord see his devotee being distressed? Immediately he sent Sudarshan Chak, which you are seeing here. And Sudarshan Chak first cut the demon. Right, demon died instantly. And then he started chasing Durvasa Muni. Now Durvasa Muni is running in all the lokas. He goes to the Devlok. He prays to he like Indra se bachao mujhe, like मैं क्या कर सकता हूँ? Go to the Brahmaji. He goes to the Brahmaji. Brahmaji, bhai, not my area, above my pay grade. Go to the Lord Shiva. He goes to Lord Shiva. He said, तुमने विष्णु के डिवोटी को ऑफेंड किया है, जाओ विष्णु जी के पास जाओ. He goes to Lord Vishnu. He said, I am not going to take. You have offended my devotee. I cannot do that. You go and you ask forgiveness from my devotee only. Then he comes back to Ambarisha Maharaj and he does this. You are seeing Dandavat. उनका पैर पकड़ के he is doing Dandavat there. कि मुझे माफ कर दो, मुझे बहुत बड़ी गलती होगी. He apologizes profusely. And then he said, Arey, there is nothing to, you are Mahan Rishi, how can you do this? Right? He was so humble that he said, even in that condition, Ambarisha Maharaj was saying that, no, don't do this. Like, I'm not even capable of your praise and you are doing this to me. Then he prays to Sudarshan Chakra and Lord Vishnu and then he goes back. Right. So that is the story. Like Durvasa Muni, even though he had all the knowledge, he was a Muni. Right. From thousands of years he had all the knowledge. But he was not a Bhakt. He did not have this simple understanding that he should not offend the devotee. And his devotee, even though he was having no power, he just was chanting the name of Bhagwan. And Bhagwan took care of him. He did not have to do anything. One last story for today. A lot of stories, right? In the similar line, there was a Saubhari Muni. Right? Because its topic is very important and it's good to understand by stories. It actually creates the impression. Why our Puranas are written? Those stories are written so that we can see the example and understand how to do that. Why it should be done. So Saubhari Muni he was also a great devotee of the Lord and he wanted to get the Gyan. Plus, Mother, in 2 minutes, it will be over. You can take this. You can take the Sadha Mother. Okay. So Saubhari Muni, he was doing tapasya. He wanted to do tapasya and gain the knowledge. So, because outside world is very distractive, not destructive. So he wanted some ekant place. So he decided that I will go at the bottom of Yamuna and I will take the, I will do the tapasya there. So he goes to the bottom of Yamuna and he did tapasya for 11,000 years there. But one day, just one day, he saw that there are two fishes, they are doing copulation, they are mating. And then a thought came into his mind, I should also have a wife. And he comes out of the river with that desire that I should also have a wife. He comes out of that river and he goes to the king, Mandata, King Mandata, and he asks that I want to marry one of your daughters. No, because think of you being in a pool for 20 minutes, how your skin would be. And now compare with someone who is in the water for 11,000 years. He was completely deformed. So king was like कि नहीं कहेंगे तो श्राप मिलेगा. हाँ तो कह नहीं सकते. So he was very cleverly said that what I will do, I don't interfere in my daughter's choices, my choices, right? So what you can ask a daughter, any daughter who is angry, like you can marry with them. Now daughters they're like, oh, right. By seeing their faces, King Mandata understood what is the problem. So he said, like, okay, he goes back and with his yogic power, he gets a very youthful, very handsome body. And he comes back. So King had 50 daughters. 51. 50. 50 only, right? That's what he said. So 50 daughters he had. Now when he comes into youthful form, now all 50 daughters, like, I want to marry him, I want to marry him. Every daughter got married to him. He actually had married to all 50 daughters. And with them, he enjoyed for thousands of years. Right. See, he knows both. Right. So, with he had all. यही तो है हमारा Bhagavatam tales, the walking copy of Bhagavatam tales. So he enjoyed for thousands of years, and then he realized, what am I doing? He realizes that, and then he again goes back and does tapasya. He starts from zero again because 1,000 years ago, kya se kya hi ho. Right. So senses are that strong. The sense our it's so demanding. It is so strong that even the great rishis who have all the gyan in the world, they also are not able to control them. Right. For thousands of years, they have this gyan and do the tapasya. They are not able to control it. But only the person, these all stories are just example. Who can control the senses then? Only the person who is perfectly fixed in Krishna consciousness, like Ambarisha Maharaj, like Dhruv Maharaj. Right? They did not let go of they did not let their desires control their life. That is the whole crux of this. All three verses. Okay, I think we are on time. So with that, we'll finish off. Any question? Check out the Megha? So by the time Megha comes, few announcements. One announcement, actually, not three. So everyone knows that Narasimha Chaturdashi is there in the temple, right? Everyone knows? Well, आपको नहीं पता probably. Looks like you are not seeing the messages, and whoever is not, at least not part of the ISKCON Hyderabad updates group, at least all the updates comes there. Please be part of that community. Okay, only the temple related updates will be shared there. So be part of that community. We'll share the link again. Right, all the updates. So 30th on the Thursday is the Narasimha Chaturdashi. In our temple, Yoga Narasimha is coming. Yoga Narasimha. Narasimha Dev is coming to our temple. Yes. So small, you see the rock there, right? In between rocks, there is a cave. In the cave, there will be Yoga Narasimha temple, a small temple, because the cave has a limited space. So there will be Yoga Narasimha deity will be established on 30th. So Narasimha Chaturdashi is celebrated on that day. And on that day, the Narasimha deity installation will also be there. So keep your evenings free. Be part of that great celebration. Also, Radheshyam Prabhu, so first of all, His Holiness Bhakti Swami Maharaj is coming. His Grace Radheshyam Prabhu is also coming. We'll have their association. And a lot of other things are planned. Yajna, in the Yajna and the Abhishekam is also planned of Sri Narasimha Dev. Right, so I have taken leave. If possible for you, you can also do that. If not possible, at least be there for a couple of hours. Any one of you who wanted to be in any of the service, there was a form released. If you can serve, you can take part of any of the services also. Right. That day only, you will be missing. Anyway, the temple would be there. Where are you going to?
I'm going to meet the client.
Client.
Delhi, I'm going.
Very good.